It was a headline that flashed across screens worldwide. BRICS announces 2026 framework. The renminbi takes center stage. The formal declaration sent shockwaves through global markets, signaling a direct challenge to the dollar's dominance. For years, whispers of a new world order had circulated, but now the plan had a name, a date, and a currency. The BRICS nations, now expanded, were no longer content to play by rules they didn't write. The 2026 Master Plan laid out a vision for a multipolar world, where economic power is more evenly distributed. At its core, trade and finance should reflect what countries produce, not just the currency of a single dominant nation. The post-war economic consensus was over. Something new was taking its place. In financial districts, traders scrambled and analysts speculated, was this economic war or evolution? This was the result of China's rise, the confidence of developing nations, and fatigue with a system many felt was rigged. The dollar had been the world's anchor, but anchors can become burdens when the world wants to move forward. The BRICS plan aimed to reweave the web of global finance, using a different thread. One thing was certain: the economic landscape of the 21st century would be defined by this moment. BRICS began as an acronym for emerging markets, but it's now a formidable alliance representing over 40% of the world's population and a major share of global GDP. Their goal: reform the global financial system, which they see as dominated by Western interests. De-dollarization is at the heart of their agenda. For decades, the US dollar's reserve status gave America immense power, printing money, imposing sanctions, and shaping global finance. BRICS argues this system is unfair and unstable, and the 2026 Master Plan is their boldest step yet. They're building a parallel financial universe, strengthening their own development bank, creating payment systems outside SWIFT, and seeking economic sovereignty. The alliance faces challenges, diverse political systems and rivalries, but their shared desire for a balanced global order unites them. They see themselves as the voice of the global South, ready to move from the periphery to the center. The 2026 plan is a declaration. They're no longer content to follow, but to lead. It's about more than challenging the dollar. It's about rewriting the rules. The world's financial architecture is being redrawn. The BRICS bloc is determined to shape it. For years, many expected BRICS to launch a new gold-backed currency, a dramatic break from today's fiat money, but the 2026 plan took a pragmatic turn. Instead of inventing a new currency, BRICS rallied around the Chinese renminbi. Creating a new currency is daunting, requiring trust, integration, and global acceptance. The renminbi, already part of the IMF's major currencies, offers a shortcut. The strategy isn't to replace the dollar overnight, but to create a strong alternative for BRICS trade. Member countries will settle more trade in their own currencies, with the renminbi as the anchor. This closed-loop system reduces reliance on the dollar and Washington's leverage. The renminbi becomes the de facto currency of the bloc, a major win for China's ambitions. For other BRICS members, it's a practical solution: access to a stable, widely accepted currency backed by China's economic might. It's a partnership of convenience and shared interest. The new system is built on the world's manufacturing powerhouse. Anchoring the BRICS system to the renminbi reflects a deeper clash production versus financial speculation. The US model is increasingly financialized, with Wall Street at its core and the dollar fueling global speculation. China's model is rooted in productivity: factories, infrastructure, and tangible goods. The renminbi's value is tied to real output, not just central bank policy. BRICS nations see this as a safer foundation for global trade. The 2008 financial crisis, born of speculation, convinced many developing nations to seek alternatives. China's productivity-backed model offers stability and resilience. The BRICS 2026 plan is a bet that real production outlasts financial engineering. Finance is important in China, but it serves the real economy, not the other way around. As global debt and uncertainty rise, a system tied to tangible production is increasingly attractive. The appeal is clear: build on what's real, not just what's promised. The West's speculative model faces its strongest challenge yet. The world is watching to see which system proves more resilient. The stakes couldn't be higher. The renminbi's credibility comes from China's industrial power. China is the world's manufacturing hub, producing more than the US, Germany, and Japan combined. It's not just about cheap goods. China leads in high-tech manufacturing, from EVs to solar panels. This industrial dominance is the bedrock of its economic strength. Today, China accounts for nearly a third of global manufacturing. Its efficient, comprehensive supply chains make it the center of global industry. Holding renminbi gives countries direct access to this vast marketplace. Unlike dollars, which buy financial assets, renminbi can buy the building blocks of modern economies. For developing nations, this is immediate and practical. The BRICS Plan leverages this reality, plugging members into China's economic engine. It's a symbiotic relationship. China expands its market, others gain reliable access to goods and technology. The system is built on steel, silicon, and real value. China's economic model is outward-looking, exporting its development blueprint through initiatives like the Belt and Road. By building infrastructure, ports, railways, power plants in developing countries, China offers what Western institutions often don't: large-scale, fast investment. For many nations, these projects are transformative, bringing hope and opportunity. China isn't just selling products, it's selling a path to modernization. The West sees this as geopolitical maneuvering, but recipient countries see practical benefits. The world's infrastructure deficit is massive and China is filling the gap. The BRICS 2026 plan fits perfectly. As China finances and builds, transactions shift to renminbi. This creates natural demand for the currency and deeper economic integration. Loans, payments and trade increasingly happen in RMB, reinforcing the new system. Infrastructure projects fuel renminbi use, which in turn funds more projects. It's a cycle of building, both literal and financial bridges. The global economic map is being redrawn. Kenya's experience shows the real-world impact of this shift. For years, Kenya's dollar-denominated debt left it vulnerable to currency swings and external shocks. The country was trapped, constantly chasing dollars to repay loans. Then, with Chinese-financed infrastructure projects, Kenya renegotiated much of its debt into renminbi. This move was transformative. Kenya could now pay for imports and repay loans directly in RMB, reducing costs and volatility. The currency mismatch was resolved and economic planning became more stable. More than mechanics, this was a declaration of independence from the dollar trap. Kenya aligned its finances with its trade reality, gaining stability and choice. The message to the global south was clear: there's an alternative. Countries can now match their financial obligations to their actual trade patterns. The appeal of a productivity-backed, trade-focused model is undeniable. Kenya's step was practical, but its implications are profound. The world is taking notice. Kenya's story is part of a sweeping trend across the developing world. From Argentina to Nigeria, countries are moving to settle trade in currencies other than the dollar. The BRICS 2026 Master Plan is the catalyst, providing the framework and liquidity for this shift. For the global south, it's a chance to reset their relationship with the world economy. For decades, they borrowed in a currency they didn't control, exposed to US policy and interest rate shocks. The BRICS Plan offers escape by trading in local currencies or renminbi insulates them from dollar volatility. It also encourages regional trade, breaking down barriers that kept neighbors apart. South-South trade and integration are on the rise, building collective resilience. The goal is a more just, equitable global system, one that shares power and prosperity. The BRICS initiative isn't about destroying the old order, but building a new, inclusive one. For billions in the global south, it's a new dawn and a chance to shape their own future. The world's economic center of gravity is shifting. The BRICS 2026 Master Plan is a turning point in economic history. It's the first credible challenge to the dollar's dominance since Bretton Woods. By rallying around the renminbi, BRICS is building an alternative financial universe. This accelerates the shift to a multipolar world, where no single nation dictates the rules. As more countries use the renminbi, its stability and influence will grow, reinforcing China's central role. The result, a dual-currency world, dollar in the West, renminbi across Asia, Africa, and Latin America. US sanctions and monetary policy will lose some global reach. The era of a single financial superpower is ending. A more balanced, competitive landscape is emerging. The BRICS Plan isn't an attack on the dollar, but the construction of a viable alternative. The world's financial order will never be the same again.